Hello everyone. So in the previous video, I had shown how you can communicate with the external service. For that, we had created an API called Post API with path variable ID. And once you pass this ID to this API, it would return you the post for that ID, right? But now, because this external API could be rate limiting us, or maybe this is a very heavy competition that we are doing. So to avoid this multiple times doing that operation, what we can do is we can utilize a caching. So in this video, I will discuss how you can uh, enable caching in Spring Boot. And in this video, we will be doing a manual caching rather than with the uh, annotation called at cacheable, right? So to start, let's create a cache first. Before that, what we'll have to do is we'll have to enable caching in our Spring Boot. For that, you'll have to go to this demo application or wherever you have this at the Red Spring Boot application, right? Just add an annotation called enable caching. What this will do is this will enable caching for entire Spring Boot application. And after that, we want to get a cache manager from Spring Beans. So let's create that object and we will auto wire with this because we don't want to create this cache manager manually. We want to get whatever is available in our Spring Boot Beans factory. Okay. Once you have received the manager, you can get the cache, get cache, and here you have to provide a name. So because we are caching a post, so I will just give it a name as post, right? Let's assign that to a variable called cache. And this is our cache store for post. Similarly, if you want to create a cache for user, you can do that, or some heavy competition that you want to add, you can give a sensible name to your cache. Once you have received the cache, what you want to do is you want to get the value from the cache. So before that, let's create a cache key against which we'll be storing the data. That we can create cache key with this format. Okay. If you want, you can just keep the ID as well because we have already created a cache for our post, right? Now let's get the cache value from this cache key. Now this method returns a value wrapper, which basically wraps our object, whatever we have stored, right? So once we have received the wrapper, what we want to do is we want to check whether this value is null or not. If it is not null, we also want to check that the object that we are getting from this is also not null, right? Once we have received, once we have checked for the null value, now what we want to do is we want to check whether the object that is stored for this given key is of type post or not, because that's the data that we'll be storing, right? Or before this, let's do one thing. Let's first store the value in our cache so that it would make more sense to you. So this cache that we have received here, we'll put the cache and the data that we want to store would be post, and the name for that object is body, right? So here we are setting the cache. Now to read this cache on our side, because we are storing the object as uh, post type, we will first check whether the value that we are getting from this value wrapper is an instance of post or not, right? Once we have verified that, then we can return the object itself. Okay. Now, once this is done, what you want to do is we have completed enable caching. We have written the code for it. One more thing that you want to do is you want to update your pom.xml to include this package as well. This is a starter cache package, which is also part of Spring Framework. Once all these things are done, let me run this application and let's open a browser. Now, as you can see, for first time, it is hitting our actual API because cache is empty, right? Now, let's run this. So as you can see, we have received the result first time from this API itself. Now, if I'll try to hit this API again, as you can see, this was very fast and this breakpoint was not even hit because now our data is coming from this cache. For us to verify that, let's click here, add a breakpoint here, and now let me refresh. Now, as you can see, breakpoint has been hit. Now we'll move one by one using this arrow button. As you can see, cache was available. That's why these values are not null and they are of type post. And we got our response from here itself rather than hitting this API. Okay. I just want to show one more thing. So if we will go to second post, for this, as you can see, for this, cache was not available because our post ID has changed. So for another post, it will again go to this API, fetch the value, and put it inside the cache and return here as well. Now, if I again hit this API, now at this time, cache would not be null, and we would be getting the value from the cache itself, right? Another thing to note here is where this cache data is getting stored. So this entire JSON bot is getting stored somewhere. So to find out what is the store behind this cache is. So let me refresh this again. Now, as you can see, for this cache manager, if I hover over it, as you can see, here the cache map is a concurrent hash map. So this is the store where our data is getting uh, stored, right? So I'll come here and on this value wrapper, you can see the value, whatever we have saved there. On this cache object as well, you can see the store is concurrent hash map. And this is a Java object itself. So we are not storing this, our cache on external service. In the next video, I will show how you can use an external caching service, let's say a Redis, to cache on external storage. That's it for this video.